convert percentages and decimals. So a percent, or percentage, right? But percent means per 100. And so there are going to be two different methods to change a decimal to a percent. We're going to either multiply by 100, which makes sense because, right? Or we can go ahead and move the decimal twice to the right, which does the same thing. So if we have a decimal like 0.42, we go ahead and multiply it by 100, we get 42, which then would be a percent, right? Or we could go ahead and go 0.42, move the decimal to the right twice, and we get 42%. So let's go ahead and look at the first example. So what is 0.35 as a percent? So if we wanted to express this as a percent, right, we could go ahead and multiply it by 100, right, and we can get our calculators out, right, 0.35 times 100, we get 35, and this would be percent, or we go ahead and just move the decimal to the right twice, which also gets us to 35%. So two different ways to do that. Let's look at the next example. Now there's two different methods now to go from a percent to a decimal, right? And you can probably see how we're going. So the first one, right, if we went from decimal to percent, we multiply by 100. But if we're going percent to a decimal, we're going to go ahead and divide by 100. Or we can go ahead and move the decimal twice to the left. So let's look at the example. So you make a budget to see where you're spending all your money, and 60% is spent on housing and food. What is 60% as a decimal? So if you wanted to say a certain decimal amount to say how much money you're spending, right, on housing and food, right? If it was out of 1, what would it be? Right, so 60%. Well, if we go ahead and divide by 100, so 60 divided by 100 gets us to 0.6. Or if we want 60%, right, and we move the decimal, which is right there, to the left twice, we get 0.60, which we can add that 0. So this would be our solution. Now these mean the same thing, right, if we express the 0 right there, or if we didn't, right? So the 0 after the 6, or not having the 0 after the 6, they mean the same thing.